Welcome to the GAP Summit on Shared Identity. I'm Fritz-Kalish, Managing Director of Global Access Partners, and it's my pleasure to be your host today. While we would have loved to have you together in person, the travel limitations that exist have meant that to ensure that we had global involvement, we would need to go online. Today we have participants dialing in from 18 different countries. As Australia acknowledges the Queen's passing with yesterday's public holiday, recognising her immense contribution to our global community, today 8 of our participating nations are members of the Commonwealth. We are a truly global network of thinkers and doers. With representatives from business, government, the not-for-profit sector and academia, we have an opportunity here to make a difference to our shared identity in this region and in our world. As we confront the impacts of climate change, wars, a pandemic, and fragile global financial systems, how can we here at this summit act to address some of these challenges and form a sense of oneness or shared identity? I often refer to GAP as a think tank that does things, a do tank. For 23 years, we've corralled our most talented people around some of the biggest issues Australia is facing, and together developed ways to address these challenges in the real world, on the ground. Shared identity is our focus today because it is so very important to our survival. Forming a sense of collective identity in our region, between nations and peoples, can offer stability in a rapidly changing world order and strategic direction for our future. With the past 5 years spent as a director on the board of the International Centre for Democratic Partnerships, delivering the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade's Pacific Connect program, I've come to understand better the challenges the nations of the Pacific are facing, Australia included. 5 years ago, these challenges seemed isolated to a separate part of the world from Australia, but today they are very much entwined. I've developed a sense of shared identity with our Pacific neighbours as I have learned about their culture, their language, their values. But what is necessary now is a collective shared identity, one that goes beyond the individual. How do we develop a shared sense of collective identity so that we can make shared collective decisions? How do we foster connections based on mutual respect and common future long-term aspirations? How do we concert ourselves and do the things that we really need to do? The phenomenon of the tragedy of the commons has played out in our region as the effects of climate change wreak havoc on each of our homelands. Governments are being challenged to think globally and long-term. This summit brings together 15 thought leaders and over 100 delegates who have a specific expertise and interest in the Pacific. Every delegate here is a speaker. We urge all of you to speak up and share your views. This summit is a discussion platform. We have 3 plenary sessions, each with their own theme. Expert facilitation will offer all delegates the opportunity to speak. Our aim today is to come up with some real-world projects that Global Access Partners will support over the coming year through task forces that will take our recommendations forward. This second track process is what has seen dozens of ideas at GAP summits become reality. This is the beginning of a journey together. This is not a one-off event. So thank you for stepping up and dialing in. As the saying goes, the world is run by those who show up. Thank you to our sponsors, DXC Technology, to our collaborators, the OECD, to our steering committee who have guided our thinking in developing this program over many meetings and many months, and to our event coordinators, Event Frog, but mostly to the incredible team at Global Access Partners who make working together a pleasure every day. It is my honour now to offer an acknowledgement of country. My connection with First Nations people started years ago in Tumala and Bogabilla in northern New South Wales through my work with social justice charity Stand Up. I'm speaking to you from Gadigal land and would like to acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present and future custodians and elders of Australia, to their connection to land, sea and community, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. It is my pleasure now to introduce Taulapapa Brenda Heather-Latu to offer a Pacific welcome.
Kia ora ana, ni sambula menaka, malo lelei, malo ni, whakalofalai atu, taulofalava, bonjour, good day, hi, halo ole keta, Māori ko naira, kia ora koutou, greetings. We have acknowledged the traditional owners of the land, and it's my great pleasure to greet you in the languages of the Pacific. I also am privileged to hold you all in the highest esteem as you join this very important gathering through the kind invitation of Global Access Partners, and welcome you in this gathering of chiefs from different lands and different disciplines to discuss common ground. E manuele nei fontana. It's now my great pleasure to introduce the Honourable Anthony Roberts, the Minister for Planning and Minister for Homes in the New South Wales Government. With experience across a range of portfolios, Minister Roberts has represented New South Wales in various ministerial roles since 2011. He has been the hosting member for every GAP summit held in New South Wales over the past 13 years and is here to offer a welcome to you all.
Good morning. It's an honour to welcome you once again to the Vision for Australia Global Access Partners Summit. I've had the pleasure of opening this summit for a number of years now, and I'm delighted to see some familiar faces. I'd also like to extend a special and warm welcome to our friends beaming in from across the Pacific. As seen at previous summits, coming together for these important conversations is a tremendous opportunity for all of us. In recent years, we've been able to discuss how the world is changing and learn from each other on how we can increase our collective resilience and adapt to new ways of living and working. But as our borders reopen and we learn to live with the pandemic, the economic disruptions still linger. Inflation is skyrocketing across the world due to global supply chain constraints brought on by freight costs and broad-based production shortages. This year's theme of shared identity is very timely, as now is the time to look at ways we can work together, think outside the box, and restore our global economy. We've had a big year here in New South Wales, and the government remains more committed than ever to provide steadfast support, delivering stronger services and driving strategic reform to give our people a brighter future. Having access to a safe and secure home is a key to that. This year, I had the pleasure of returning to the planning portfolio, this time with the added responsibility as Minister for Homes. I'm focused on leveraging these two portfolios to better partner across government and with industry so we can create an affordable and inclusive housing sector for generations to come. Here in New South Wales and right across the Commonwealth and indeed the Pacific, we're facing a challenge. Housing is becoming increasingly unaffordable for young people in the regions and the people in need. Our population is also rapidly changing and growing. This government's goal is to create a planning system that optimises land for more homes and drives down affordability. Our housing program is backed with some $3 billion investment from this year's budget, the largest of its kind in New South Wales history. It targets home ownership, increased supply, social and Aboriginal housing, as well as homes for key workers. The package is balanced across various supply and demand initiatives, and we hope to give industry faster approvals to alleviate overall cost pressures and bring greater certainty for everyone. So I'm looking very much forward to working with our new colleagues in Canberra, landowners and our strong and sophisticated community housing sector to leverage this new opportunity and expand our portfolio even further here in New South Wales. As neighbours across the Pacific, it's only natural that we share common values and experiences. And I look forward to hearing from today's impressive lineup of speakers as we find new ways to cooperate, integrate and innovate. I'd like to thank the various GAP task force and advisories for their ongoing work in transforming these deliberations into meaningful action, and I can't wait to see what comes out of today. Can I say thank you to Catherine and her team for bringing us all together, and thank you very much again for having me.
Thank you, Minister. We're grateful for your constant support of Global Access Partners and your commitment to the government and people of New South Wales. It is now an honour to introduce Dr. Kurt Campbell, Deputy Assistant to the President of the United States and Coordinator for Indo-Pacific Affairs in the National Security Council. Dr. Campbell was a top US diplomat for Asia Pacific under President Obama and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. He is the architect of their Pivot to Asia strategy and has authored a book on the topic, The Pivot, The Future of American Statecraft in Asia, which advocates strengthening existing alliances and building closer relationships in the Asia-Pacific region. Prior to his current role, Dr. Campbell has run the Asia Group Consultancy and co-founded the Centre for a New American Security think tank. He was a member of the Defence Policy Board at the Pentagon and was on the board of directors for Standard Chartered plc in London. Kurt Campbell was appointed an Honorary Officer of the Order of Australia for service to strengthening bilateral relations between Australia and the United States. In 2014, he was appointed an Honorary Companion of the New Zealand Order of Merit for services to New Zealand-United States relations. While he has earned a string of degrees and awards, I was really interested to learn that Dr. Campbell has a certificate in music and political philosophy from the University of Yerevan in Soviet Armenia. Dr. Campbell is currently travelling between Washington and New York to a meeting Senator Blinken has called him to attend. This means that he's not able to attend this summit live today, but he has recorded a special dedicated speech for us. It is a true honour to hear him speak.
Hello, friends. It's Kurt Campbell speaking to you from the White House. I'm in one of our wonderful ornamental rooms here in the old executive office building called the Eisenhower Building. I'm so sorry that I'm not with you in person, first of all, and I'm also sorry I'm not speaking to you live, but I've got a good excuse. I'm about to take the train up to New York for the UN General Assembly, and at that event, the United States, in close consultation with our partners in Australia, are launching the Partners of the Blue Pacific. And we think this is important and very much in alignment with the mission, goals, and objectives of GAP, things that you'll be discussing over the course of the next several days. The United States understands quite clearly that we need to step up our game in the Pacific region. This is an arena where we have long, historic, moral interests. My father served in the Pacific during the Second World War, and our goal is to work with partner nations, the United States, Australia in the lead, New Zealand, Japan, Britain, and others to join tomorrow, including Germany and Canada. We intend to work together on common priorities that are vexing across the Pacific: climate change, illegal fishing, job opportunities, technology, issues that are important to the livelihood of the people of the Pacific. And this effort is designed not only to step up our games, but to basically find best practices, coordinate on lines of effort, and essentially send a message that our countries care about the future livelihood and the prosperity of the Pacific. Secretary Blinken will bring this new organization into being, and he will work closely with the other partners, and we will listen to the discussions subsequently from our friends from the Pacific Island nations. We're looking forward next week. The President of the United States will host leaders from the Pacific to an unprecedented summit here in Washington, D.C. We'll meet at the Chamber of Commerce to talk about new investment opportunities in the Pacific. We'll go to the Coast Guard headquarters to talk about new initiatives like programs designed to help deal with illegal fishing. We'll work at the State Department on all matter of engagement, from issues associated from the Peace Corps all the way to matters associated with the aid in international development, our AID programs. And this will culminate in an intense effort in which the leaders of the Pacific will have a farewell dinner with the President of the United States in the beautiful White House here on the grounds on Pennsylvania Avenue. So our goal here, of course, is to step up our ambitions and our engagement in the Pacific in ways that complement all the work that GAP is doing. I've had a chance to engage with your leadership. I think the mission and the vision of working on investment in the Pacific, creating opportunities in technology and finance, make extraordinarily good sense in an era in which the needs of the Pacific are going to become more paramount. I also want to underscore, even though that we are entering a period of some strategic competition in the Pacific, we fully recognize that for us to be effective in the Pacific, we must meet the Pacific peoples where they live. We must address their needs, their interests. We have to be clear that we can work with them as partners. We believe in a democratic and open system of government, and transparency and engagement with all elements of civil society are going to be important on the way forward. So again, I wish I was with you down under, and I wish you well. I want to thank my good friend, Ambassador Sinodinos, who's a huge fan of your organization and the work that you are doing. I want to tell you that I will be in close partnership with Australia tomorrow as we roll out the Partners of the Blue Pacific, and I'm hopeful that we will find opportunities and venues to work with your excellent organization on the way forward. So my best wishes to you, and I sign off here from the White House. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank Dr. Campbell for his address and his endorsement of Global Access Partners, particularly for his interest in continuing a relationship with the GAP network. This means that everyone here today has an opportunity to participate in the direction that the US is taking in our region. Global Access Partners will develop a report of discussions that will include clear projects that we can discuss with Dr. Campbell in the months to come. Please keep this in mind as we listen to each other's views and experiences. It's now time to join session 1. In order to get there, you'll need to go via the virtual lobby and then click on Join Session 1 Governance. The Back to Virtual Lobby button is in the top left-hand corner of your screen, and we will start at 9 o'clock sharp. It's our pleasure to have the Chair, the Honourable Philip Ruddock, chairing our Session 1. See you there.